It's been too long. I've missed you so. So glad to be live. Hello, hello. Let's get us live on Insta as well. Ooh. Hello. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. I don't know why I'm out here singing today. I bet you it's because Ari got me all in my endorphins from all my dancing today. Hi, happy Friday, friends. It's been a long time, but I'm back. Baby, around the world and I is the understatement of the season. But I'm so glad, so glad, so glad to be back with y'all. I will tell you, I have been missing my Friday lives. I've been missing my Friday lives. Man, oh man, it has been a season. Are you all right? Are you okay? I know I was not, all jokes aside. Ooh. Today, I wanted to give a little bit of a chat around an update on the last couple of weeks of where I have been and maybe some invitations to check out where you may have been and seeing if you're in some similar boats or maybe not at all, but a bit of a check-in from me. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about this event that we have coming up on Friday, this Be Great tailgate. And in true spirit fashion, the exact reason why I created this came revealed all up in and through me. Hi, Rochelle. Welcome in. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. But first things first, it's Friday. How you doing for real? How you doing for real? How's your heart? How's your soul? Taking a minute. Lay your hands on yourself somewhere that could use your touch. If you can, take a breath into your body. I'm feeling whole today. Tender, but whole and grounded. Like static at the edges. For sure. But whole and like back in my body. It has been a time of that. And I am reminded of how at the beginning of the year, everybody was like, it's a fire horse year. Be careful you don't get burnt up. Woo! Bitch, was I burnt. Crispy. Oh, baby. It has been a crispy time. It has been a crispy time. And it hit me. And I had been in such a mental fog. Jose, good to see you. Long time, darling. I've been in such a like mental fog, like what is life? Where am I even moment for like a solid 4 or 5 weeks, and it like hit a pinnacle I think a week and a half ago and went kind of like a bit more embodiment, and I had this moment of like, oh, I'm back. Oh, bitch, she's back. I'm back up in this thing. Here back in my body. Good to see you. Good to see you. That has been my last couple of weeks. And I imagine for a lot of you all, something similar is in the soup. You know, between these retrogrades and the full moon, almost took your girl clean out. Almost took your girl clean out. And everybody that I talk to is like, this thing has happened, like something new to grieve or something wonderful but new and needs planning for, or, you know, some new awakening or a rug pulled out from underneath us in some way has been really what the doctor has ordered over the last couple of weeks. The astrology is really in it. The world at large is in response to a lot of that. And so I think on a personal level, a lot of the people that I talk to are experiencing a little bit of extra chaos at this current moment in time. Could be yummy chaos, but chaos just the same. And I think in times of chaos, what there is to do is to get still and get as grounded as you can and really reimagine what matters. And I know for me, that's been my last couple of weeks. That has been my last couple of weeks. So, however you're doing, I invite you to give yourself some time today to really ask yourself how you're doing for real and really think about how you can meet yourself in that moment. what you can meet yourself with. Um, what gentle, loving nudges can you meet yourself with today, based on how you're doing for real? And is there anything you want to do about it? Because sometimes I just want to know how I'm doing. May not be nothing to do about it. I may not even really have the bandwidth to do shit about it. But the thing I can do is give myself my own energy and assess where I am. So, invitation, always, as we are together on these lives, always invite you into a little bit of inquiry because I think it matters. But getting kind of into a bit of an update of the last couple of weeks, like I said, baby, these retrogrades didn't come to play. And I think interesting astrology in real time for the girlies that care. I personally am having all this tap dance in the sky is stumping a mud hole in my 12th house and shining a big old light in my 4th house, which has meant a lot of like, ooh, just in my stuff. Seeing all of the ugly that I don't usually like to see. Really aware of my self-sabotage patterns. Lots of rugs being lifted out from underneath, and this, conversation around survival, and getting back in that mode of just having to get through another day and not, really being able to come up for air, which, has been interesting as a person who runs a business, because these are moments where I say I kick my basket. And if you've ever watched Crazy in Alabama, you'll know that's where that comes from. Where I have these moments where my overwhelm, my nervous system can get to a point to where my mental health is just not in a place where I'm functional, and there was a good amount of time of that in these last couple of weeks. And I don't share that to be hyperbole or to be dramatic. I share that because not enough motherfuckers talk about the price sometimes of contribution, and honestly sometimes of entrepreneurship, depending on how you do it and why you're doing it. And sometimes that price of being really ambitious and running for your things is that you fly a little too close to the sun every once in a while. I know that's real for me. Welcome in, Vogue Robinson. Good to see you. I know that's real for me. Your girl flew a little too close to the sun. Just a little bit. Got a little crispy on the edges. I had to come home back down. And so, if you're somebody that ever happens to you, it's a thing sometimes of really going for something and then having your body and your mind be a bit of the weight of it. So I will say that was my last couple of weeks. And so in those moments, I really had to get still, which meant no Friday Lives for a while. It meant that I had to pull back on everything, which, when you're running a whole ass business, that means that, things can get dropped. I'm still learning to really deal in what happens when the best laid plans don't get you laid the way you plan. And just this week, I was sitting on our Your Business, Your Design Genius Bar with Ilona Pamplona, and we were talking about human design and the aura of generators. And we were kind of talking a little bit about a consistent reminder. Mind you, I've been studying human design for like 8 years now. I've been getting readings. I've been going on weekly, monthly check-ins with Ilona. I have my own personal one-on-one readings. And there's sometimes where you got to hear something 100 times before it really sets in. And I was revisiting how much of my life and my brilliance and my joy requires so much surrender. So much surrender. Every time the plan doesn't work out, it works out in the end. Every time. And every time I want the best possible outcome, I have to be reminded that outcome isn't going to come just from me. It's going to come in a combination and co-creation of me and the source energy that created me. Me and my Ori, my spirit, the spirit that runs my head, the ancestors that hold space in my life, the angels and the deities that have a vested interest in your girl moving through. Or maybe the good that I'm here to do, is all trying to communicate with me. And usually that communication looks like the thing that I wanted, I don't get the way that I wanted it. Ain't that a thing? Welcome in, Iris. Of course, this would be a good time you come in. We start talking about spirit. Iris said, that's my call. Good to see you, mama. But I say that to say, I am taking out of the lesson of flying a little too close to the sun over the last couple of weeks and getting my face scraped. I am taking the lesson of that every time, not sometimes, every time I'm redirected, it's God. And I call God, all of those things mixed together, right? All of the energies that, have a vested interest in me succeeding. Source, spirit, I use those words interchangeably. But every time there's a redirection, it's God. Every time. Every time a launch doesn't go to plan, every time client things maybe don't work out, every time I am yet again going to tell y'all a week from an event that's happening in a week because my ass was out for the last 3 weeks. That's fine. I'm going to talk about it today. We're going to be fine. Every time there's some vested reason, and Ilona really reminded us of that yesterday, happening in the quantum field, some random spark somewhere needs to get aligned so that there's a better outcome, and I keep being reminded that source, spirit, God, the answers are always either yes or more, better, stronger, faster. Like yes, or if it's not right now, hold on a minute, I'll get it in the best time, I see some yeses in the chat. So I think we're picking it up. So that's been my last couple of weeks. If your last couple of weeks has felt extra feely, right, you could be kind of in a similar situation. And I want to name, for those of the astrology girlies who are paying attention, for me, this is what it looks like when my 12th house is really, really activated. And there's a lot. My 12th house is in Aries. Everybody's just, a two-step, just all up and fucking through. Just like, it's like one planetary energy lighting it up, as up after another. And then I have 4th house in Leo from a Taurus rising. So I have so much activating my little self and my childhood self and how I felt about things, how I was raised, and extra looking at, the gifts, but also the challenges being passed down in my lineage. All of that has been so loud. And again, in those moments, I can hear Kira Buckley on that damn State of the Summer podcast. Y'all, run, don't walk. I be telling y'all, sometimes I'm like, you should go and do this thing that's a nice to have. Sometimes I'm like, I wouldn't skip it. This State of the Summer podcast, for me, it was life or death. I went back to that thing to keep myself off the rails this time around. And one of the things that Kira said is that sometimes as teachers and practitioners, the healing moment is not to be taught. Sometimes in the moment, you got to just be in that. Sometimes you just got to be in that, So I come to you today with less lessons, but more truth. And my prayer is always, because I really don't like being on the internet telling my business, my prayer is always that my desire in doing it is that it gives you permission to tell more of the truth to yourself and the people around you who can hold you and care for you. So that's been where I've been for the last couple of weeks. And it's interesting because I want to talk a little bit about this event that we have coming up on Friday, the Be Great Tailgate, and why I created it. It's so interesting. I just got off the phone with Rev D, one of our dear friends, Reverend Deborah Johnson, who spiritually has held so much space for us. And every time I talk to Rev, even if it's just about random logistics, where we're going to get lunch or whatever it is, I always get an encouraging word. And I was asking Rev if they would be in town to be able to bless this event. And they said, I'm not going to be in town, but these are some of the things that I'm thinking about. And we were talking today about the need for community to get together at this time and remember that we can survive this. And remember that the universe only says yes. And then if yes or more, that those are the only answers. That everything that's happening around us right now can be used for our benefit, can be extracted a medicine from. Even the hardest parts, even if the only medicine is that you got stiller, even if the only medicine is that you were so broken that somebody got to stand with you and you got to see who in your community would stand with you and stand alongside. Whatever the medicine is, there is a medicine in the moment, no matter how hard the moment. And that has been the inspiration for this Be Great Tailgate, truly. So the Just Clock concert is coming on Saturday. And I personally, again, don't forget, skippity pap, all through my 12th house. for the last 9 months, and my life has looked like it. One rug lifted after the other, unexpectedly. Um, Also, I was born a week before the eclipse, so the chaos could be me. I could be the problem. We're here. Either way, it's been chaotic. And I have been listening to this Jill Scott album, and the front lyrics, I don't have them off my hand, but from what I know from my head of Be Great, so all my life I wanted to be good, wanted to feel good, wanted to feel free of a history that made me cry and maybe dimmed my light. And there's a whole kind of front intro into it. And the conversation is all about all of these things, but I'm gonna go ahead and be great. Because why not? And I said, you know what, bitch, hell yes. And it would play like Spirit does, like Spirit is the DJ, you got Spotify on shuffle. It would play at these opportune moments where I had given up on something. I had been ready to throw this business in the trash for the 50th time. I had, been in a real health moment in my body of feeling extra vulnerable. It would play and it would remind me that not only am I not the only one experiencing the unimaginable at the current moment in time, I have a choice. And despair is a choice. And I can make a different one if I desired. The same exact circumstances could not move an inch, but I could choose a place of power for myself. And that doesn't look like spiritually bypassing or fucking fake positivity your way to not feeling your feelings, but it does look like choosing to be planted. We were having this conversation on live a couple of months ago, and I know I was saying to y'all, Spirit's been showing me to do this tailgate. Spirit's been showing me to do this tailgate. And all the things coming up and around and like, well, why am I doing it? What I'm really doing it for. And it's because I need it. I need to be reminded, that sometimes the default setting is despair. And if you don't want to have that as a default setting, you have to choose. You have to choose to alchemize your reality. We have to choose what kind of lemonade we want to make out of the lemons that we're given. And it doesn't mean that lemons aren't hard. And it doesn't mean that we don't have to grieve the real reality of what's there. That's part of the work of making lemonade. You got to squeeze them lemons. Look, my analogy goes deep here. But, that's part of the work of actually making a decision to not be in despair, is feeling all of those feelings. But we cannot make a home in the idea that everything is happening to us and not for us. We just don't have that luxury right now. We won't make it. And it's interesting. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it at the event next Friday. And it is on August the 14th from 5 to 8 at Corporate Co-working at the Valley View location here in Las Vegas. If you're in town, we sure would love to see you. I'll talk more about it at that event. But one of the things Rev D was mentioning to me was never forgetting our ancestry. Just by the sheer fact that every single one of us are breathing, regardless of your ancestry. The sheer fact that every single one of us are breathing says that somewhere in your beingness and your lineage is survival. That not only will you make it through this time, the universe doesn't do nothing for no reason. So there is something on the other end of this that will make it worth it. Whatever it is. It makes sense by and by, like the old folks used to say. Everybody want to rush by and by. Everybody want to get the manual for by and by. Everybody is me. I would like a manual to tell me why all of this is happening. Sometimes you don't get why. And in the moment, most of the times, I don't get why. And it takes injections of good and community and empowerment and remembrance to hold us through these times. When you think through how a lot of our ancestors lived through the unimaginable, it certainly wasn't alone. And it certainly wasn't with a belief that nothing could get better. Truly. So that's really what this Be Great Tailgate is really all about. We'll be together for 3 hours. We'll have about 90 minutes or so of conversation on the stage. We're going to start with Jasmine Danielle, and we're going to have a little bit of a conversation about deciding not to despair. and talking a little bit about her story, of resilience and moving through the things that maybe would look like we're meant to break you. We're going to talk a little bit about that to open up, and I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of the opportunity in front of us to alchemize our circumstances. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we squeeze some lemons to make lemonade, and the possibility in everything. We're going to talk a little bit about that, because even in the worst experiences, possibility exists. There is a gleam of something that can help to get us through. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in the beginning. We'll talk about the next kind of piece of that, which is really what I call real spiritual strength. Welcome in, Divine Femme Healer. We're going to talk a little bit about how when you are faced with circumstances you ain't never been faced with before, how important it is to triple down on knowing who you are, knowing what you value, knowing what your genius and your brilliance really is. Because without it, it can be very difficult to pivot. When you don't know you and the world is shaky and the ground's getting moved out from underneath you, baby, that makes you set up to have a harder time. Taking some time to really sit and rediscover yourself, rediscover what you want, rediscover what you would do with a blank slate, because when the slate gets clean, you get to put what you want back on it. We'll talk a little about that with Ilona Pamplona. We're going to be reading some human design charts, looking for some superpowers. So you'll get an opportunity to enter your human design chart, and Ilona and I will look at unique signatures and find different superpowers in folks' charts and kind of bring that up. That's going to be something that we do together on stage. And then we're going to have a panel on community, because I really do believe that a lot of us are raw dogging this shit alone. And there is a benefit to your solitude, but it is one of those things that out of balance, especially when you have a bad neighborhood going on between your ears, when you're in a lot of shame, when you're having a lot of insecurities, my perimenopause girlies, when your hormones are out here playing the pickleball with your life, that, can sometimes be hard to have your own thoughts be the only thoughts you're sitting in. I often say, that community is what gets us through. We are pack animals first. I can tell you for this time had that for me over the last couple of weeks have been some of the darkest that I've had since the beginning of my healing journey. And it was the phone calls from the homies. It was my mama checking on me. It was me dragging myself to events even when I didn't feel like it, just to be seen, just to be witnessed, just to have my community be like, we know you where you are, girl. We just want to lay a hand on you, let you know you're loved. Renisha sending me cookies. It has been the people that got my ass through. And I think that sometimes, especially in Las Vegas, we have our little pockets in our corners, and our pockets in our corners don't always have the people who can open up opportunities for us, but also can hold the bigness of what it is that we're going through. 1, 2, 3, 4, as I say it. There is a need for sometimes a different kind of support to get you by. And we're going to talk a little bit about the different ways that community can help keep a possibility of a new beginning alive, and how important it is to figure out your corners. And we'll talk some practical solutions in getting involved. And I'm going to introduce y'all to the best community builders that I know to be in the space, and the resources that can be available in that way, for each other, because we will have to resource each other. These fucking systems not finna do it. And, we are in a season of the power being brought back to the people. But we are seeing right now that the people needed to be reminded of their power. And one of the ways that we get reminded is when the fucking rug gets lifted out from underneath us and we have to hit our face. But now that we're sitting in the reminder, we have the power to resource each other. When things really matter to you, you get 4 or 5 people together on it and stop waiting for some industry, organization, funding to come, and y'all figure out how it's going to make it work. The entire world can change and will. It will truly be the power of the people. Honestly, for the next 20 years, according to the astrologers, but we are in an interesting moment of it right now, to get the call out And so we will be doing that together at the community panel at the Be Great Tailgate. And, as speaking in call, we will have a special activation there that if you would like to dedicate a message to Miss Jill Scott and let her know what this album, what her music, what who she be in the world has been to you, there will be an opportunity to do that as well. And then we will round it out by blessing our new beginnings. I think that we may be slightly too over focused on the endings, that we haven't made the time to bless the new beginnings. And it's okay if you bless it with your tears. Bless it with your overwhelmed fall at the altar of your own life. That's what that's for. That's what that's for. If not you, then who else? You don't have to be resourced to bless your new beginning. And, I'm a big believer that a room full of people putting their stamp on a blessing somehow makes it a little bit juicier. So that is the Be Great Tailgate. And the conversations that we're going to be had there are for us, and again, I have free tickets available for anyone who has been laid off, that has lost a family member, or has a business that has been financially impacted by our current times. Hit me, get with me. I've even put free tickets in the hands of quite a few folks here in Las Vegas that I know have their hand on the pulse. Get a free ticket, be in the room at this event. If you can purchase a ticket or you want to purchase a ticket for someone, please do. I want us to do the by us, for us, by us. And I want to kick off this fall with some good. And I want us to remember how much power we have in the agency of our life. I know I needed reminding. And so I'm excited about the opportunity to be in community around reminding here at this event. Just last night, we were finishing up our Genius Games at the RDA Museum up here in North Vegas, and watching people find out something about themselves and light up about it never ceases to be my favorite main vein. We are so capable and resourced and loved and appreciated. And we spend so much time running towards our stuff sometimes that you don't even notice how much help we get from everywhere. And I think self-discovery and, these interesting little pieces of brilliance that get passed down from generation to generation are so special. So special. I loved being in the museum last night. Genius Games is always a good fucking time. If you've never done Genius Games with us, it's a fucking blast. It's a blast. I definitely want to do more of that because I just enjoy how we play with the modality and really get to see people utilize it and have actionable actions pretty immediately. But it was such a pleasure to be doing it in the RDA Museum, to be surrounded by one woman's life's work of creative expression. Really just had me go. And the thing about the RDA Museum, if you've never been, is it's, again, in random North Vegas. So it's right in the neighborhood where a lot of people live. And it's in a neighborhood. I found out last night that they bought 10 acres before anything lived there. They built everything on top of it. So all these houses and things are right around. And so it's true Vegas style, very much like a speakeasy museum. You walk in, it's this very unassuming situation, a big old building. You walk in and you're like, I am in a museum. And there are sculptures, and there are massive paintings, and there are intricate paintings, and all different styles, and all different colors, and all different types and works of ways in which to express. And I was just so lit up at how much possibility is available when expression and creativity and contribution is something that you just spend time cultivating and finding the resources to create. And I was telling this to Ilona, because Ilona came last night to the Genius Bar. And Ilona's like, yeah, Portia, that's what people used to do. They would dedicate their life to these kind of things, and they would just make art like this. That's what people used to do. And I'm like, there's a remembrance there. There's a renaissance coming, but none of it is going to happen if we are deciding that collectively all is lost. We don't have that luxury. Be sad. Feel your feelings. We can't despair. We don't have time. Too much needs to get built, and there's too much juice in the sky to not use it. We could decide and resource ourselves and get inspired enough and get pissed off enough and then inspired enough again to remake our entire world. That's what's on the table. All this help, all this opportunity, all this spark of birth energy magic, we could remake an entire world if we wanted. Welcome in, Aaron. Doing the things, right? We could remake our entire world if we wanted. There's a lot of people invested in making sure that you believe you can't. Fuck that. We're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it. We are not gonna do it. I'm just not. And I know that somewhere in you, you know you're not either. Come on, Juice. Juice living within us, juice living without of us. Y'all, there's so much help. So much help. So much help. So much help. So much riding on us waking up to remember that we were the creators in the first place. And that when we decide that we can create something different will be possible. That's what's available if we can get ourselves to survive this. So that's what's up. That's the bit of the business. That's the things. That's what I had to say for the day. Thanks for tuning in and hanging. Let me tell you what events are cracking. Again, for those of you all who are business cousins and Teachers Lounge members, we have moved from Genius Bars or office hours to Genius Bars. So we have Genius Bars. This week I'm on Genius Bars for client experience. Today from 2 to 5. We have, hold on, let me turn off all the events except Luma. We've got Spark Connection Games next week on Tuesday. And then we've got the Be Great Tailgate on Friday from 5 to 8. So it's so interesting to be telling y'all about like 2 events per week instead of like 15 events per week. But that is what's happening if you are on in our Genius Bar family. So whether you're in Teachers Lounge membership or if you're in our Business Cousins, either Las Vegas chapter or international, we are gathering online on the 11th. We will be in person on the 14th. If you are hanging out in Vegas and you want to come play pickleball with us, we do pickleball at Cambridge Rec inside the air conditioning. I don't know why I'm doing the robot. Every single Monday from 3 to 5 p.m. If you want to play and you've never played, Parshell comes and does a little bit of teaching. If you don't really want to play, you just want to key, pay a little $2, and we be sitting in between games, chitting, chatting, dinking and dishing. So I love y'all big. I love y'all so much. I have missed being here on Fridays. Thank you so much for those of you all joining live. It's always so nice to see you all popped on. If you are in the Las Vegas area, I want to see you at the Be Great Tailgate, August the 14th, 5 to 8 p.m. at the corporate co-working Valley View location. We would absolutely love to have you. I'm going to be back next week. I'm glad to be back. Glad to be in the thick of the conversations. We are coming into eclipse season. I'm sure next Friday we can talk about getting eclipse ready because that is always one of my most favorite conversations. I'll give you a sneak peek now. My girl Chenny laid it out. Don't overschedule yourself. As much time as you can to feel feelings and process them. The happier you will be. Part of the reason I'm so excited that we're going to be in community, give an injection of good vibes that can ride us through the next round of unexpected as the eclipse comes and clears out all the shit that was in the way of our greatness. Because that's what's on the table. All right, my friends, have a wonderful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Please take excellent care of yourself like the precious cargo that you are. And I will see you on the flip side. Bye. Let's go here. Bam. Share as real. YouTube family. See y'all soon. Make sure, since you're here on YouTube, check out that State of the Summer podcast. It is the panel podcast that I do with my Soul Work sisters, Jennifer Bond, Ilona Pamplona, and Kira Buckley. It prepared me so well with some of the themes that were coming up this season and some of the places that I needed to stand my being in to be able to be grounded through this. If you could use some resources, we made some over there for you, okay? See y'all later.